What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. We'll be discussing transfer rumors and more. As always, if you do enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on future content. I'm just gonna sort out my viewing, my background. It's not how I wanted my layout. But yeah, as always, send in your comments as well throughout the show. If you have any questions, I'll be trying to answer them. Maybe T could be joining me. I'm not too sure. He's meant to be here, but I guess something came up. But look, we're going to be talking about rumors, and there's a few. There's wingers over in Celtic, as you can see from the title. That we'll be mentioning that. There's also a potential the Gambian Hurricane, that's his nickname. Rumour there as well. And also we're talking about, some of the comments from yesterday's game and some of the reactions. There's a debate going on whether, oh, look, this is Roy Hodgson's team. This is what he does compared to people saying, well, he's picked up from Vieira. So I'll be having a quick mention of that as well, because I think that's an interesting topic. And I feel like both managers do play a part to where we are even now in terms of results as well. But look, let's start off with the first bit of transfer rumor. And that is on the Celtic star, Liel Abada, who's wanted by multiple Premier League clubs, including the likes of Crystal Palace, after the player has fell out with his manager over in Celtic. The 21-year-old winger is wanted by Southampton. That's the other Premier League club, as well as top English outfits, and that is according to the Football Insider. So looking into the player a bit, he seemed like he plays on the left-hand side, which is a positive because we desperately need the left-sided winger. As I've said many times on here, regardless of if Wilf stays or if Wilf goes, we need to strengthen down the left-hand side. That is an area of weakness. I mean, Jordan Ayew done a fantastic job against Leeds, but he's still not a left winger or left midfielder, and that's one area that we've been lacking all season long. Even the likes of youth players that could potentially be coming into the side, the likes of Jez Raksaki, who play down the right-hand side, Michael Mabue also down the right-hand side. There isn't that many players that I could think of off the top of my head that could fit into the left-hand side, and I think that's a massive problem. But so far this season, talking about Liel Abada, he's played 5 Champions League games, had no goals and assists there. He had also played 29 games in Scotland, 10 goals and 4 assists. But for me, it's just, I think someone left a comment, and I'll go through the comments now. Someone left a comment saying, why are we always interested in Scottish players? Why is it always them? And it's from Jude. I'll bring up now. I swear we only get linked with Scottish League and Championship when it comes to transfers. And I've mentioned this before. Clearly, we have good links over in the Scottish League, and maybe that's probably Dougie Friedman, his connections over there. And in the Championship, probably good scouts there. But yeah, it does seem like a recurring theme whenever we're linked with players, mainly from them areas. Saying that, we've been linked with players here and there from also lately. I've seen 1 or 2 South American players that's linked, and also the other player that we're going to be talking about, he's not from the Scottish League as well. So yes, I understand that the transfers that we've been going for, even the likes of Scott Banks, who did go out, he did come from Scotland, and we've got connections there even with youth players. There have been a few rumors, and by the way, these are rumors that we've been linked to players also from abroad. Now that Vieira's gone, it's going to be interesting to see how we recruit, because I feel like, me personally, some of these players that we've been linked with have come from Vieira's influence as well as the scouting. Now that that manager aspect is gone, maybe we might stick with the Championship route or the Scottish League route, but I feel like we need to expand. We need to expand in our scouting. And with the next player that I'm going to talk about, we'll talk. I'll mention it there that it's not the Scottish League, or it's not even the Championship. So that's one positive. Look, there's been a lot of reactions from Leeds fans. I'm petty like that. I would also like to announce that Bamford briefly played for us. I'm claiming his goal too. Yeah, not many Palace fans like Bamford. I can't actually remember what went wrong between us and Bamford. I'll be honest. It's been a while, but yeah, I don't have any problems towards him. But I think he made a comment when he left Palace, I guess. But yeah, I can't actually remember it. But yeah, look, down the left-hand side, winger, 21-year-old. It's the first time he's been mentioned. I thought I'll give it a mention as well. That's what the reports are saying today for the first set of rumour. Well, the start of the stream startled me when it finally happened. Well, Southampton are Premier League club on technicality on at this point. Yeah, I agree. But apparently there's also other top English clubs. But then again, I'll be honest, even by saying this report, I do feel like if a manager has fell out with a player and then you're seeing these reports about a Premier League move, I feel I've said this before. I feel like it's more agent talk. I feel like it's either agent talk, whether it's a player or himself. It's the first time I've heard of this bit of player. To be fair, he does fit our player profile in terms of what we should be looking for in terms of left-sided winger. But the fact that he's fell out with manager, maybe that helps us out. But I'll be honest, I haven't watched him play. I don't know much about him, but he has played. He has had some Champions League appearances, and it'll be interesting to see if there are more rumors. I'll look into him in more depth, but it'll be interesting to see why he has fell out with the manager. Because that's never a good sign in the first place. Kevin says still a long way to go till we can party. 100%. As I said it yesterday, and I'll keep saying it. Another 7 cup finals to go, and I'll probably keep saying it even if we do stay up, even if we're mathematically safe, because I want us to pick up as many points as possible. I want to look up the table. I want to see if we can push for a top 10 finish potentially. And yes, if we get 1 or 2 more wins, you can make the argument, yes, we've stayed up, but I don't want us to stop there. If we can play like how we did against Leicester and against Leeds, we've got other teams that are below us, other teams that are poor based on form and the league position. I want us to go and pick up them points. We had a difficult start to the season and even midway point of the season. Now we've got these run of games. I want us to end the season on a high. Even if we do stay up, keep pushing, and trying to push up the table. That's my mentality anyways. Some of you lot may be comfortable, just stay up and that's it. But I want us to go. I don't want us to, relax after, let's say, we stay up after, let's say, 2-3 games. I want us to go for it. There's still a lot of games to play for and a lot of points to play for as well. Who have I got here? Looking all fresh, looking all young.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Just wondering because the internet went down on campus, so I'll just make sure everything.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. So literally, I started off the show just talking about the first set of Rumour. I'll let you know as well. Liel Abada, who's wanted by multiple Premier League clubs, according to the Football Insider, the Celtic winger, plays on the left-hand side. It seemed like he's fell out with his manager. But before we actually talk about the Rumour, how you been, man?
I mean, fantastic weekend, man. I've been freaking wonderful. You kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. 5-1 win. What did you make of the result and what's been going on?
Man, first of all, just going into Ellen Road to get a win is impressive. But to win in that fashion was unreal, man. You saw what I was saying in the chat. It's like Jordan Ayew got a brace, man.
This is a player that we've been talking about with no production,
unreal,
literally,
man.
and he's got a brace, and that it's crazy. And by the way, last week he got an assist as well. So these players, some of these players that weren't stepping up in terms of goals and assists, they've stepped up. I think that's made a difference. But yeah, look, it's mad. It's mad. Even right now, thinking about it, 5-1. I woke up to that. I was thinking, did I really just witness that yesterday? Like, was that actually the real? Or was that all a dream? Was I just sleeping for like the last 24 hours? Because it was just unreal, like the second half performance. But we've got the talent. We've got the talent to play football like that. It's just that we've been sleeping on the talent, and the talent have been sleeping on themselves.
That's what you would expect,
if they take more responsibility, they can produce stuff like this. Yeah, 100%. So let's go to the first bit of Rumour, as I mentioned a second ago. I don't know if you've had much time to look into it. Winger, 21 years old, over in Celtic, Scottish League, once again, surprise. What do you make of it?
I mean, I think Abada is talented. He's a talented player, but I think the conversation that we're having is, do you have someone who can replace Wilf? Like, I think we're wanting to find somebody who could probably do that pretty quickly, and I don't think he's the candidate to replace him immediately. Could he come in, be a part of the first team, and possibly contribute? I do think so, but if we're talking about a Wilf replacement or a potential Wilf replacement, I don't think he's that person that we would want him to be.
Yeah, I said as well. I feel like there might be a bit of agent talk here, or agent pushing the narrative or pushing the story.
Which Dee, I feel like we talked about that more and more lately. I feel like we talked about that with 3 or 4 guys.
But it's just the way the story's set up, though. It's just the way the story's set up. This is a player that's maybe not getting as many minutes. I don't know if Dams is talking about the same player. But yeah, if the player's not happy with the manager, you of course the agent's going to be on the phone to other clubs trying to find his next move. And it seemed like he clearly wants a Premier League move because they'll probably get a good pay increase by that. Because the report suggests that Crystal Palace, Southampton are the names that's mentioned, but there are other top English outfits also interested, and I'm not too sure how true that is, but he's a left-sided winger. We'll see what happens. I don't want to go too much into it because it's the first time I've heard of this player, first time it's been mentioned, and it might be the last time, so there's no point talking about it like it's a done deal. But you know, wherever there's news, we'll bring it up, and that's what the news is saying, Football Insider anyways. Let's move on to the second bill, and this is more exciting. It ain't the typical Championship or Scottish League. This report is coming from the Daily Mail, and it's saying that Crystal Palace and Chelsea are the latest clubs to register an interest in cutting a deal to sign 18-year-old Gambia striker Adama Bojang. The 18-year-old centre-forward plays for his club football over in Gambia. So he plays in Gambia as well, and it's currently valued around £650,000. But the problem with this transfer could be work permit issues.
Permit issues.
Which means that he could sign and end up going out on loan straight away. Now, I mean, to find a player like this, you need the crazy scout system. I mean, he plays his football in Gambia as well. And but with due respect, the Gambian league is not in the highest regard. I don't even know, I've never heard of Steve Biko FC. Like, I've never heard of that team in my whole life.
I mean, I know who Steve Biko is. I didn't know he had a football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't know he had a football club. Exactly. Yeah. Literally. But 18 years old, I think what the story was suggesting that he's been doing well for the youth level, not for his. I don't think the scouts have been in Gambia just watching this player play for his national, for his domestic league side, but in the international level, representing Gambia, I feel like he's done a good job, and that's what the reports were suggesting. But T, look, I'm not going to ask you what do you make of this player because there's no way on earth you have seen this player. There's no way on earth you've seen this player. Tell me,
I took a trip to Gambia and watched them up.
Yeah, exactly. Took a trip to Gambia. Here we go. Yeah, of course you have. Of course you have. Yeah, I watch the Gambian National League, and I watch it week in, week out. I'm a massive fan of him. Look, it's 18 years old, but it's still interesting. I think he scored. I'll get the stat, but I think he scored a few goals for the youth level. I don't think he played for the Gambian first team, not the actual first team, but I think for the under 20s. I need to double check it right now. But still, it's a player that from a league or from a country that we don't tend to go for. That's the most encouraging thing about this. And only £650,000. That's the reporter's fee.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it'd be, definitely could be a cunning move for the future. We talked a little bit about last time about our scouts going out and finding those gym type of players that nobody's heard of, and here we are. Could this be one?
Yeah. And by the way, have you heard of his nickname?
No, I have not.
The Gambian Hurricane. That's his nickname. And also BBC are reporting the story as well. He's called the Gambian Hurricane. He's started recently for the under-20 AFCONs in Egypt. The 18-year-old scored 4 goals to help the Scorpions reach the final where they defeated Senegal 2-0. So clearly the scouts have been watching the under-20 AFCONs. But yeah, he scored 4 goals. It seemed like they won that as well. And he included a hat-trick in a 5-0 demolition against South Sudan as well in the quarterfinals, and a win against Nigeria in the last 4. But other names that I mentioned: Tottenham, Marseille, Ajax, Nottingham Forest, and BBC Sport Africa, they're talking about as well. I mean, lots of top clubs in Europe clearly want this player, and it seems like Palace are also interested as well.
I mean, if that's the case, maybe we should be on trying to get this kid on board, man. I mean, maybe he's got some potential. I mean, you see all these guys coming from Africa to like places like Belgium, and France, and playing and doing well. It's like, I think, of course, it's tough, like you talked about with the permits to come into the Premier League, but you can still go out, sign him, and loan him somewhere and let him get his points up. So.
Yeah, Gambian Hurricane. No, it might be the Gambian Hurricane, but they're saying he's a Gambian Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Yeah, exactly.
Hurricane.
Hurricane. Yeah. Well, you never know. They might be saying that. It might be a hurricane. There's a bit of a misinterpretation. It might be that's what they were trying to say. And I'll tell you, look, if clearly there's us watching this tournament, and that's good that we're involved with it. I mean, even if it's not a direct scout of ours, clearly we have connections that are watching this tournament. And if all these clubs are linked with him as well as us, clearly there must be something in this player. And maybe I could find some clips somewhere to watch him, but especially in the AFCONs, I don't think there's many clips for domestic level. But yeah, look, 18 years old. as you know, it's the first time. But look, Chelsea and Palace are seeming like they're fine over it, and it's a deal that could potentially be done, especially for the likes of £650,000. That fits our budget.
Definitely does.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If it's our budget, I mean, it's not the likes of, it's under 1 million. If we can't afford someone under £1 million, then it might be time for us to do a little fundraiser back at the nest and just buy the club and start.
It's actually right up our alley, as a matter of fact.
Exactly. But look, Mitch also says the same thing. Anyone under £1 million is basically just taking a punt, which is fine, but don't get too excited. 100%. We don't know if it will even happen.
Sure.
It seemed like Ajax. So based on the report that I read, it was Chelsea and Palace, which is from the Daily Mail. But based on BBC Sport Africa, not South Africa, they suggesting that Tottenham, Marseille, and Ajax are also interested as well. So look, top European clubs as well as Palace. You never know. Maybe if we go unbeaten in our next 10 games and end up in European spots, maybe we could say we're a European club as well.
Speaking of European spots. Wait a minute. He said here that, and this is a question to be asked. If we somehow make it to Europe, do you give Roy another
I don't know
season?
if we're talking about Europe after 2 games. I mean,
I'll tell you what, no,
like,
but honestly, David, if we somehow were able to do it, David, he deserves another year. If Roy takes us to Europe at this point, he deserves.
He doesn't. I'm sorry, T. No.
It won't.
It's not about deserving. It's not about deserving. Come on, let's be realistic.
So
If he was to take,
think about what we're talking about here, though, D. We're talking about this man getting us into Europe. I know, far-fetched. So imaginative here. But if Roy was to get us to Europe from this point, you wouldn't say,
nah,
maybe give him another year?
I don't think he would want to do it. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to speak on his behalf.
He's going to give Palace something we've never had before. Yeah. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be opposed to him having another year. Let me just say that.
Nah, man. Nah. It's not that. I wouldn't want that to happen. I'm going to be totally honest. I said this before. I'm not going to change my stance. I said this before when he first signed. I said, even if we win our 10 out of 10 games, I don't want him to stay on. Nothing personal towards him, but we need to rebuild. And we need to start sooner rather than later. Because you have to remember, let me get your thoughts on this. Patrick Vieira has set the fundamentals to the side. You said it yesterday. Roy said it in the first game as well. The players and the manager, our current manager, has also given credit to our previous manager. And
they're big. They're big up in PV.
Yeah, exactly. They're big up PV. And slowly, with De Zerbi, he seemed like he's a quality manager. For example, let's compare Brighton. Potter set the fundamentals. De Zerbi came in and they took him, and literally they went to another level. But with Hodgson, see, I don't know, other than this season, if we'll be able to play football like this, let alone for the next 8 to 7 games. Remember, we're facing sides that are worse than us, but we're demolishing them. No excuse there. But then again, as the season goes on, as you might see a bit of struggles, I don't know. I feel like this season is it. Hopefully, we do win 10 out of 10, but we have to move on and we have to rebuild. We just have to. We have to think about the future because Roy is not. It's a short-term appointment. And there's no reason for it to go beyond this point other than us being cheap and not looking at alternatives. So, as much as I want Roy to be successful, I would love us. I said it before. I'm not his biggest fan from previous times, but I would love us to win our 10 remaining games and give him a proper sending off. I don't want it to go into next season. I want it to end on a good note. If it's going to end on a good note, just end it there. Let the man retire.
Next 75 matches.
Exactly.
30 points, man. That's 30 points.
I'm not saying we're going to win it, but I'm saying, let's say, even in a best case scenario, just let him end on a high. Do you get it? Don't
I love that. I love that.
Don't go into next season and then afterwards it might fall off and then, oh, look, we kept on Roy and all of that. But yeah, what do you think about the reports about, if you have any questions, send them through. Actually, there were some questions that I'm going to answer that people sent in whilst I was talking about the transfer rumors. But what do you make about the comments about Roy Hodgson versus Patrick Vieira? Some people are saying, see, I told you so. This is Roy Hodgson getting the best out of this team. And some people are saying, well, Patrick Vieira has set the base level. And, the players are saying this, managers saying this as well. So where do you stand with it? Do you think Vieira should also take a bit of credit for the last 2 games? Or do you think it's down to Roy Hodgson?
Absolutely. I think so he definitely should take some credit. Because I think when you think about it, I think really what this is showing and what guys like IU and what Roy is speaking to Patrick Vieira was doing a lot of things right with the team, with the squad, how he was doing. He was doing a lot of things right. But in doing that, there were a lot of things that he wasn't doing so well. You know what I'm saying? And I think with Roy coming in, it was just a matter of, hey, let me adjust these few things here that he wasn't doing to the best of his ability while building on these things here that he was doing really well. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's kind of a little bit of an amalgam of course, and plus you got to think Roy been in the game for a long time, so he probably could very easily see some of those things that need to be changed, need to be adjusted, that need to be looked into. You know what I'm saying?
See,
okay, tweak this, do this here, but let's keep all this together, keep these building blocks together, and we can see success.
Yeah, Spa says, I think Patrick Vieira would have got wins here too. Main difference though, he would have parked the bus out 2-1 versus Leeds. See, this is a difficult topic to talk about. You'd think
it would
we
have been
would have got
tighter
the
matches
wins.
too.
Yeah, but okay, cool. Because as everyone knows, I loved Vieira to bits. But let me also be realistic as well. During that time, we're talking about Eze. Yesterday, that was performing well. During the last bit of games under Vieira, or even this season, you can say, Eze hasn't been the same player. And Eze wasn't playing as much. He was low on confidence. So if Eze still remained low on confidence, because that's the one thing I want to give Roy Hodgson credit to. Yes, Vieira, made us and created the base for the way that we want to play, especially with attacking players and bringing in players. He played an influence in that. But Roy Hodgson also, you can't just give credit to Vieira for yesterday's game. Roy Hodgson needs to have credit as well, because I feel like he's done maybe not tactically, but I think he's done a brilliant job in terms of man managing these plays. Because even the plays after the game, they're not really talking about tactics. They're talking about the confidence. They're talking about manager's influence on the squad. And I think that's where you get the best out of Roy Hodgson. I feel like Patrick Vieira, we train certain movements, especially possession football, and that helps us out. But I think Roy Hodgson has just given confidence to these players that was needed. So I think it goes down to both sets of managers, a combination of both. I mean, yes, Vieira this season hasn't been great, but you can see even towards the end of the game, you can see some of our passing, some of our movement is kind of similar to what we was doing under Vieira when times were good. But then again, saying that, I don't know if we would have played like that even under Vieira, if these players would have been low on confidence. See, I'm a bit conflicted right now. I feel like it's 50-50. Maybe we could have got the wins, but end of the day, the credit has to go down to both managers. You can't just say it was Vieira and he set this up and it's going to be 100% wins even if he stayed. I don't agree with that completely because of the players' confidence. And, you can't all say, oh, it's just Roy Hodgson. See, that's Vieira's a fraud. I don't agree on that either.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair.
And the players don't say that. And the current manager's not even saying that as well. That's why I think it's 50-50 for me. But let's see what people are saying. Spa says PB was low on confidence. Yeah, you can make the argument he was low on confidence, or as a man that, was looking at his contract situation and thinking this club has not yet offered me a new contract extension. And they was meant to do it after the World Cup. And I feel like maybe his head was turned. He was thinking about his future.
Yeah, and it could have been he felt like the club was low on confidence in him. Not so much him being low on confidence in himself, but him feeling like the club themselves might not have a great amount of confidence in him.
Yeah, that could be as well. Steven says, how about if we win most of the games in the same style? Do we not give Roy Hodgson a contract because of his age? Imagine if he was 50 and German with the same results, we would all want him on a contract. Well, first of all, does Roy want to extend his contract from now and onwards? One. And second of all, we've seen Roy Hodgson long enough at this football club to see that there are some very good times, but then there comes a time where the squad can hit a ceiling. The 17-18 season, I think it was 18-19 season as well. We had some good football, we had some good results. But then as it went on, as it dragged on, it gets a bit predictable. And right now, I feel like it's more player confidence rather than just outright tactics. I think confidence is the key, even for yesterday's result, rather than, Roy making a crazy tactical switch. I'm not saying Roy didn't make tactical switches, by the way. I'm not discrediting him like that. But we're having good moments right now. But also, let's not get carried away. I said this before, and I'll say it again. 10 out of 10 wins. I still feel like we need a younger manager to rebuild the squad. This squad is in a rebuilding stage. Vieira set it up. Now let's move on from that. Let's try to get a better manager. Let's try to bring in better players. I think if you're keeping Hodgson, you're stuck in the same cycle. I don't think Hodgson can push us on to, European football next season, for example, or top 10 finish. But yeah, I mean, some people may disagree, but that's me anyways. That's where I stand on it. TV's play selections were sometimes questionable. Says yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Comment saying
yeah,
D
they definitely were.
the Turkish Messi. There was too much hype. There was too much hype with him. Like when he first came onto the scene, he was a very good player. He had problems with his agent. I think money got to him as well. And yeah, the hype.
Did Emery Moore? Did he get a move somewhere? At one point.
He's at Fenerbahce now. He was at Dortmund. He got moved to Dortmund.
He's at Dortmund. Yeah, he's at Dortmund.
Yeah, he was at Dortmund. Yeah, he was at Dortmund. But the hype got to him, and I feel like he's the people around him didn't help him based on what the reports were suggesting, and that's what really he was a great talent. But I had the feeling as soon as he came onto the scene, people were talking about, as you said, Turkish Messi, Turkish this and that, and I was worried. I was worried from the get go because the expectations were too high, and he just didn't live up to it. As simple as that. Playing plays out of position isn't doing the right thing as well. See, that's what I'm saying. That with Vieira, there was some good things, some bad things, and that's why you have to give confidence to both. Especially with Roy. Roy's playing the plays in the right position. See, that's one positive from Roy to Patrick Vieira, for example. And players are playing high in confidence. So yeah, I think it's both. But for you, T, going into these next run of games, how many games do you think we need to win to stay up?
Undoubtedly, I think we win 2 more, I think we're good. We went 2 from where we are right now. I think we're on 32 points. I want to say we went 2 more. I think we're guaranteed to stay. Like guaranteed, easy call if we get 2 more wins. I think.
Yeah. I guess 2 more wins will probably keep us up, but I'll be honest. Of course, as you get more wins, you're going to feel more confident. I'm feeling confident now.
Absolutely.
Even if you start picking up draws and make sure the teams below us don't beat us, I think the odds have significantly dropped. I think the chance of us getting relegated now, based on the metrics that people do work out, is of course metrics. Football ain't that simple. It's like below 1% now or 1%. It'll be incredible if we do go down at this stage. But then again, it doesn't change my mentality. I said at the start of the show, T, I don't know about you, but I want us to pick up as many points as possible. I don't care if we stay up after next game or so. Keep your heads going. Keep focused, and let's see how high up the table we can finish. Let's end the season on positive. Exactly. We have to keep going. Yep. You have to keep going. You can't just stop. We've got so many winnable games coming up. We suffered a lot this season. We have suffered a lot this season. And another thing that I want to say about Vieira that I've been thinking about, that I haven't said yet on these shows, as good as he was, and as good as the football was, the reports about Ocean Roberts taking charge of a lot of things. Even I don't know how true this was, but even with the likes of player selection and all of that, that makes me think. Of course, you need a good assistant manager. That makes me think. If he did stay on. I'm not saying this would happen. I'm just asking questions out there. I'm not, saying this concrete. If he did stay on, with a manager, it raises big questions. Do you think he would have been, good enough to set us forward in the next 3 to 4 years? Like, I don't want to be reactionary, but thinking about that, if your assistant manager is taking that much control over your decisions, it makes me think like, why can't you make your own decisions as a manager? Why do you rely that much on your assistant manager? Do you understand where I'm coming from? And this is me as a massive Patrick Vieira fan during his time at Palace. That's the one big question mark that makes me a bit more comfortable, even though it hurts me, a bit more comfortable with us moving him on. The fact that he relied so heavily on his assistant, that doesn't, give me that much hope.
It makes me wonder, because it seems like it could be a few things that could be behind that. You know what I mean? When he was at Nice, it could have been the fact that he was too heavily on his own and not delegating and relying on his assistants. It could have been that he may have felt that was one of his downfalls there. So now he comes here and he wants to make an adjustment and rely on his assistants more, to give them more responsibility, more autonomy, things like that. So, and that could have worked against him. Maybe he did too much. You know what I mean? Or, is it managerial ineptness? You know what I'm saying? Like, he is pretty new in the managerial game. So Maybe he was relying on Ocean for filling in areas that he himself wasn't knowledgeable enough. Maybe he felt. I don't know. Could have been a few different things.
It raised question marks for me, anyways. As someone trying to be objective about the whole matter, not let emotions take control of me. Look, at the start, I still would have liked Vieira to stay till the end of the season, because the main problem with me is that the problem is bigger than Vieira. I mean, even if Hodgson keeps us up, there's massive. This summer's coming up is massive for us, because there's players out of contract, and we need to make sure we get a manager right. We need to make sure we improve in depth, because even yesterday, let's be honest, I don't know about UT, Joe Ward, he did get beat a few times in the first half, even against Leicester. But then again, we're getting these wins. We're getting these wins, so it's not really a talking point. There's still massive weaknesses that we had under Vieira that should have been solved time ago. And people are already saying that as well. I'm seeing lots of people saying, for example, oh, look, see, Parish, I'm going to apologize to you. I'm not one of those. It's not me being stubborn by any means. The matter of Steve Parish is not by appointing just Roy Hodgson. It's the matter of, there's a problem with the other owners and Steve Parish not getting along with them. There's reports about £30 million of money being available and we're not spending it. The squad hasn't been invested as much. Parish has done some good things, but 2 wins doesn't change my mind on what Steve Parish can do with us taking us forward.
Not at all.
Because the problem with us this season has been not that, yes, Patrick Vieira has played a part to it. Of course, he's a manager, but there's some key weaknesses in the squad that we haven't improved from time. I mean, I don't want to go to the negatives because it's good times, but Van Arnold, who got moved on, we haven't really replaced them. Wan-Bissaka, we haven't replaced them. Benteke, we didn't bring in another forward. Gallagher, we didn't bring in another forward. And that goes down to the people that's making these decisions. So for me, 2 games or 2 wins doesn't make me say, oh, Steve Parish, I'm 100% sorry. You can apologize to Roy Hodgson, but I'm not apologizing to Steve Parish because, there's still big question marks. Let's see what he does this summer. But one good window doesn't sum it up, and that's why we're in this position. We shouldn't be in this position. Let's just say that. We shouldn't be in this position. And that's where I stand for it. But yeah, look,
arguably in this position because of Parish.
But that's what I'm saying. People, it gets a bit, I don't know, me, I don't want to react straight away and say, oh, I'm sorry, Parish, look, you're genius for it. Yeah, you brought in Roy, that's good, but there's still bigger problems. What's going to happen under Roy? We need to strengthen, and we need to strengthen in depth, and other problems with our other owners as well. So, I'm not the one to apologize. You guys can apologize, but I'm not apologizing to Steve Parish by any means, because that's going to make me look like a fool come end of the season and the same things happen. I wanted to see a change. If there's a change in the way he approaches things, then 100% I'll apologize. But I'm not going to apologize after 2 games, because what if this summer is another mediocre summer? Do you get what I'm trying to say? That's how I feel about it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Anyways, for me, I'm not in the camp of apologizing. Yeah, I want to see differences in the summer. Then afterwards, maybe we can talk about it. But it's too early. It's too early right now. But yeah, anything else you want to add, T, before we wrap up? It's good. I mean, we're going to build up to the game, of course. If you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe, because there's going to be previews coming out. That should be good. Previews after wins, back-to-back wins. Even Roy said it himself. I think he could count it with his hand how many back-to-back wins he's had at Palace, even during his time when he was here all them years ago. So it's a rare occasion. I'm not saying that we're going to maybe we go 3 wins in a row. It would be incredible. But it's good times at Palace. It's good times. And exciting as well, because we're entering a territory of unknown. We still don't know what's happening with Zaha. We still don't know what's happening with the next manager, even with players in that regard. So for us, there's a lot to talk about. Let's just say that. The content will be flowing. Just to Eze says, I thought Vieira would have at least put a farewell message out to the fans on Twitter or Insta. Yeah, that's interesting. It is interesting. I wonder if there's an agreement there when he did get sacked, when he did get a sack, that he can't, put out a message or anything like that for a certain period of time, so that he can get paid. I don't know if there was something like that. Interesting, because I would have thought he would have put out a message to the fans, but he hasn't done that. And I keep going on his Instagram and I keep looking, and there's nothing out there. So there must be something about that contractually that he can't speak about this situation in the short term, anyways. Spaffy says, big up DNT. We've achieved 20% of the season points under Sir Roy. The players look free and running again as they transform. Looks like pre-injury essay. We got Super Pat Vieira, exactly knows what we need. Yeah, that was last season. Time to update the chant. Yep. We're not going to Wembley. We're going to St. Mary's on Saturday. Those were the old days. Russell says Parish makes 90% calls right. I'm not sure about his other investment with his partners, but 25% decision making, only 10% owning. Lol. You can think. Look, he's the one that brought in the other investors as well. You know, we get onto the other investors, but he's the one that made the decision to bring them in. So, yeah,
90%, 90% is a high percentage.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't say
90%. If I read down my list of things, I don't think it would be necessarily 90%.
I was thinking about this today as well. And the first question, if Parish was to come on the channel, the first question I'll ask him, I'll start with last summer, even before Vieira. I saw Nuno, I saw Vieira, I saw Lucien Favre, and just by them three managers, all different styles of play. What was the thinking? What was the thinking with your approach? Even before your appointed Vieira, what type of manager did you want? Because normally you would want managers that fit a certain philosophy, so that when you bring in a manager and if you stick with that, you at least you know you've got a same group of players. But that was a big question mark. You did work with Vieira, but we'll see what happens in the summer as well. I mean, even the manager links, it did in the first season. It was great. It's just a bit all over the place. I didn't really understand the approach. Nuno, Espirito Santo, and Patrick Vieira are just different sides of the spectrum. One is just counter-attacking football, crazy defensive, and Vieira, he wants to play attacking football, position-based. So it didn't really make sense to me, even in that. So yeah, look, there's lots of questions I'd love to ask. Parish, and I think Parish has made some excellent decisions in the past, but there comes a time where even people at the football club, players, owners, they can hit a limit in terms of what they can do. And right now, as it stands, I feel like he's hit his limit. And until things change, then I'm going to stick with that. I'm not apologizing to Steve Parish because I don't know if he could take us on to the next level, especially right now. Has Patrick shot way over par? Look, people keep asking about Patrick. Patrick is just taking a break. It's not just Palace. People got things going on in their personal lives as well. He's taking a break. We'll see.
Has he shot way over par?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Patrick has joined the senior PGA tour. Patrick
joined Vieira.
Joined the tour. So
they joined Vieira in terms of no comment.
Patrick's got better things to do right now.
Exactly. Then talk about Palace and people taking a break. Remember, everyone's got people personal things going on in their lives as well. It's not just Palace. So yeah, he's just taking a little break. In the meanwhile, let's wrap up with this. Until we sort out the problems of the owners, what manager will come to us? They want us a guarantee of money to spend, not money if we go on the stock market. There's difference of opinions. Some people saying Parish gets 90% of the things right. Some people are saying he would want to come to us with these owners.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see till the summer. But enough of the owner talk anyways. It's good time being a Palace fan. There's another winnable game coming up. So we'll be talking about that in a few days' time. As always, if you have enjoyed the content, leave a like and subscribe. Takes a second of your time and helps us out massively. If you're watching this on replay, make sure to leave down your comments in the comment section down below. Thank you to everyone who's joined us live. And until next time, up the Palace.
Palace.